Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters. This is Mets Extra, presented by Locked Up Sports. We got a big one for you here today. Mets get a win this afternoon, but at what cost? They lose Kodai Senga for a little bit of time, at least, as he leaves the game with a hamstring injury following covering first base. We're going to get into it with our guests. I want to get right to it, though, and we're going to talk all about it. About the Mets lose Senga, and they win today, though, 6 in a row. They are 21 games over 500. They have a 5.5 game lead over the Phillies. Besides the Senga thing, all is right in Mets world. And we have a guest today. It's Dexter Henry. He's been on this show many times. You know him from New York Post. You know him from WFAN. He's got a new show out called Straight Outta Flushing, one of the best Mets shows out there. So if you're a Mets fan, and even if you aren't a Mets fan, check it out because it's definitely worth the check out. And it's a good show, and you're going to love it. But first, we got him here. Right here on Locked Up Sports. So check it out. Dexter Henry. Enjoy it. We'll see you on the other side, everybody. All right, so now we're joined by a special guest, Dexter Henry. He's the host of the new New York Post show, Straight Outta Flushing. You also hear him sometimes on WFAN doing updates. He's got another show, He Got Game. No, not He Got Game. New York Got Game. Yep. An excellent basketball show. He's one of my good buddies here. Dexter Henry. Dexter, thanks for giving us a couple minutes.
I appreciate you, Bob. Always a pleasure to come on with you, no matter what we talk about.
All right, so now we're joined by a special guest, Dexter Henry. He's the host of the new New York Post show, Straight Outta Flushing. You also hear him sometimes on WFAN doing updates. He's got another show, He Got Game. No, not He Got Game. New York Got Game.
Yep.
An excellent basketball show. He's one of my good buddies here, Dexter Henry. Dexter, thanks for giving us a couple minutes.
I appreciate you, Bob. Always a pleasure to come on with you, no matter what we talk about in New York sports. It's always fun. So,
I'm going to debate you good. You know it's going to be a good debate.
Yes, always going to be a good one.
You better bring your A game. That's when you come on this show. Ready. Bring your A game.
I'm ready.
All right. So listen, we were just saying before. I said this is why we can't have nice things. Now the Mets are as good as it gets, right? They're 21 games over 500, 45 and 24, and Senga's got the best ERA in the game. And today he's pitching a shutout. And what happens? He blows the hamstring. Peter on a cover of first. What do you got to say about that?
Look, it's a tough break for the Mets. You know, I thought it was encouraging though, Bob, that he did walk off on his own power. I did think that was a good sign for them. If you're the Mets, I think the best optimist situation. This is sort of like what we saw with Vientos. A light, hamstring strain, low grade, I should say, hamstring strain. If that's the case, I think that's good. I think where you should be somewhat optimistic as a Met fan is even though he's leading the NL and lowest ERA, he's been pitching extremely well. Senga's pitched like an ace, even though I think he's got himself out of a lot of jams and hasn't been dominant all the time. I think the thing you have to be encouraged about is the Mets' depth has shown up. The whole pitching rotation has been good this year, and I know we're going to get to that. The whole pitching rotation has been good. The depth has been amazing. You've seen guys step up. This roster hasn't missed a beat, and they're still without Manaea. They're still without Frankie Montas. So those guys are coming, and Senga will be back, and it affords the Mets to not rush him. You don't have to rush him back, which is a good thing. You can take his time. He can heal, even if it's a low-grade strain. Maybe you want to come back in 2 weeks. Maybe you tell him to take 3. Maybe you tell him to take 4 and have him rest and work his way back up because having Senga ready for the stretch run, that's what's most important. So, look, it's disappointing because it takes some of the shine. Yeah, it takes some of the shine off this sweep. The Mets handle their business.
6 in a row, 21 games over. They're running away with the division. The stretch run might not even be that big of a deal, to be honest with you. If they keep playing like this, they could be 10 games up at the All-Star break. But I don't want to get too far ahead of me, but you're right. And let's hope it's low grade and he comes back because he's been the best pitcher on a staff that is just full of surprises and excellent pitchers.
Yeah, he's been the best pitcher on the staff. I think the key was how was he going to come back from the injury last year, missing pretty much all the season. Nobody brought him back in the playoffs, but how was he going to come back from that? Could he look like he did or improve upon what he did in 2023? And I feel like we've seen that. And I still think the best is yet to come with Kodai Senga. I was saying to somebody today, Bob, you could look back at Kodai Senga, even if Kodai Senga never pitched again, he's one of the better Mets signings in their history.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's been tremendous. And for the Mets to get him at the value they did is great for this pitching staff. There's a lot of talk about whether they need an ace or not, Bob, but he's pitching like an ace right now for them. He's a guy I think you could trust. Just got to get him healthy. But I trust the way this pitching staff has stepped up. and the other arms in a way that I did not trust at the beginning of the year. I'd be lying if I told you I had confidence in this rotation at the beginning of the year, because I did not.
Yeah, I was telling you, but right before we went on air, I was like, I think Stearns is just smarter than the rest of us, because I was sitting here and everybody was like, well, I don't know about the pitching staff. We're worried about it. We're not going to catch lightning in a bottle twice. And I said, I don't think we caught lightning in a bottle. I think Stearns is just smarter than the rest of us. He knew this staff was going to be good. He doesn't want to spend the big bucks because he knows there's going to be injuries. And injuries with pitchers tend to last longer than most injuries. Like, just look at Minaya. They told us 30 days or 4 weeks, and now we're almost halfway through the season. Or a little more than a third of the way through the season, and still, he's just making some rehab starts. He's still probably 4 weeks away.
Yeah, I think I happen to like, and I've been saying this the last couple of years, I like what Stearns values when he's going to invest in pitching. He will spend on pitching if it's young and high end. That's where he's going to spend. The big bucks I'm talking about. Because remember, the Mets were in the hunt for Yamamoto a couple of years ago. Yamamoto, they were willing to shell the big bucks out because he was 25 years old. Senga, in his mid-20s when they signed him, right? Didn't cost as much as Yamamoto.
Senga's been every bit as good as Yamamoto, if not better.
Yeah, he has. I mean, it's hard not to argue that. And here's the thing. They got him at a great number, but they were willing to spend. They're not going to pay for guys who are not in their prime. And if you're not in your prime, they're going to give you short-term deals, and they're looking for efficient guys, not overly hard throwers. Look at the rotation. Not overly hard throwers, guys who are deceptive. And then look what they've got out of guys who are sort of more reclamation projects. Whether you want to talk about Sean Manaea last year, whether you want to talk about Luis Severino last year, whether you want to talk about David Peterson last year and then this year, Peterson has been amazing.
Amazing. Today, last night, a complete game shutout. It was almost like a no-hitter the way it happened. It's so rare. The way they were describing it and the congratulations he was getting after the game. They was almost treated as like, the way the crowd was into it. A complete game shutout is almost as rare as a no-hitter these days.
Yeah,
you never see it.
You never see it. Kudos to Mendoza for letting him finish it out. I really like that.
Yeah.
And Peterson has just been his swing and miss stuff, deceptive to get guys with the great out pitches has been amazing. I was down on this guy 2 seasons ago. I was like, he's done. He's not going to do it. Pitching lab has been tremendous.
That's exactly what I was going to say next. I was like, what do you think about this pitching? Like, I mean, do they get credit for it? Does Jeremy Hefner get credit for it? You never hear Jeremy Hefner talked about. Now, I hear when the Mets are slumping, when Soto was slumping, whatever, people are calling for the batting coach to get rid of. Listen, I don't think the batting coach has much of an effect on anything. I really disregard that. The pitching coach, though, I think that he does have a difference, and I think Jeremy Hefner should get more credit than he does. You barely hear him mentioned, and this staff is a surprise. Best staff in baseball, best ERA. What do you think about the pitching lab is down in the minors? What do you think about that as well?
Oh, I think the pitching lab in the minors, when you've seen some of these guys come up and be ready, and then, obviously they're working with some of the guys through spring training, I think they deserve credit. I think Stearns deserves credit. I think Jeremy Hefner deserves credit. I'm kind of with you. I always tend to give pitching coaches more than I do hitting, because I think a lot of these guys, either you have it or you're not.
They have the same stance they've had in Little League. These guys aren't changing anything like that. Come on.
It's the hitting coach is going to help you with looking at the film after and slight adjustments. But at the end of the day, when you get up to the plate, either you do it or not. Now, that's the same thing with pitching, too. I want to be very clear.
I guess so.
Your arm angles and all this other stuff. I just think pitching is more pitch to pitch, inning to inning than hitting is, in the way that a pitching coach will come and talk to you between the innings and talk about different things, in opposed to hitting. Hitting does happen, but I just don't think it's as impactful, is what I'll say. I'm not saying the hitting coach has no impact.
I agree.
I'm not sure it's as impactful.
I think he's almost no impact. Because these guys, like, no matter, they all have a different stance. I get it, guys. Pitchers have different, arm angles and deliveries and everything. But these guys have the same stance they've had since Little League. No matter what it is, they know how to hit. They know it's basically rotation with the hips. I can tell you how to hit. I can't hit a lick. But I can tell you how to hit. It's rotation, and it's that's what it is. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing I always say, though, Bob, about hitting, right? To be successful at hitting in baseball, like what we really deem successful, you're failing 70% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a 300 hitter, you're failing 70% of the time. So it's really hard. And baseball's so long. There's so many slumps. Everybody wants everybody in the team to hit at the same time. That never happens. I don't know why fans expect it. It
You
never
can't
happens.
go day to day with baseball. You drive yourself crazy. And I
You
was
go
doing
crazy.
that. You go crazy.
Yeah, so you have to listen. As great as the Mets are playing right now, 6 games in a row they've won. They just swept the Nationals, 21 games over 500.
Yeah.
All the good stuff. At some point, they're going to go through a 3-game skid again. They might go through a 4-game skid. Now, good teams don't let that get to 5 and 6 and 7. The really good teams, the playoff teams, the contenders, don't let that happen. But the Mets are going to lose 3 games in a row. The bullpen is going to, have a rough spot at some point in the rest of the season. The hitters are going to go cold. Soto will have another cold streak again. All this stuff
throw him
happens.
off the team 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks,
3 weeks ago, I remember
Ready to throw him off the team.
I was in Boston where, the Mets offense didn't show up for 2 of those 3 games, and I was at the game they lost.
Oh, yeah. Well, you went to the game in Boston?
Yeah, I was at the game in Boston.
Is that your first time at Fenway?
No, it was my first time at Fenway as a fan to watch a game. I've gone as a media member, but it was my first time. I went with my cousin. We watched the game, and great place to watch a game.
It's old, though. It's old. When you get inside the bowels of it, it's old, right?
It's old. The other thing, my one critique of Fenway, they got to have a little bit more with the video and signage for
They still have the guys putting the numbers up out in the monster.
They have a little bit, but it's not placed a great way. It's like I was in the right field bleachers.
Okay.
And so in
like
order
fair
to
territory?
see sometimes, I was in fair territory.
Red
fair
seat?
territory. Yeah. Fair territory. I was
Okay.
in.
Oh, fair territory. Yeah, that's a red seat area, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Red seat area. So I was right there behind Soto. Great place to watch the game. Loved it. Loved the ambiance and everything. But so they can use a little bit of modernizations to certain things around the ballpark. I never want them to tear it down, but I want to see certain modernizations.
Quick story. My buddy right here. Let me move here. See the Red Sox thing?
Yeah, I see
my buddy, he passed away, so we named the studio after him. Huge Red Sox fan. He took him and his father took me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was a great guy. My best friend. He took him and his father took me to Fenway. They're huge Red Sox fans. When I was maybe 10 years old, I'm going to say. And we got there early. We got the sausage outside that I had to get. We get there early, and we're watching batting practice. And I'm down where the fence is like 3-4 feet tall in foul territory down the right field line. Ball comes, rolls, hits the side of the wall, bounces out in the middle of the warning track. I jump over the fence, just not even thinking. Jump over onto the warning track, field it, get up, hop back over. Guy comes over, the security guard takes the ball away from me. They're all cheering. I'm like, what are you doing? Ends up giving me the ball back. I still have it to this day. And I was like, I don't even know. The guy, my buddy's father was like, what were you doing? What are you doing? You're going to get us thrown out. You jumped on the field? And I'm like, I didn't even, the ball hit the thing. I was ready to get it. It bounced into the middle of the warning track. I hopped over. I don't know. I got down. I fielded it. I got right back over. And I was like, oh my God. But I got the ball.
Oh my God. I'm glad the security guard did the right thing.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're a kid.
This age, I'd be thrown out. But
if it was a teenager, I won't give him back the ball. But a kid, give him back the ball.
That's my Fenway story. I think they won the game, but yeah, it was a good time. Now, Soto, like we were talking, Soto, they were ready to throw him off the team. Now he's hitting. He's the big, he's a big hero. I tell people, I go, my daughter's 2 years old now. She's going to be a junior in high school, and he's still going to be on the team. So let's stop throwing him off the team and stuff. All right, he's going to have slumps. He's going to hit. He's played too many years. He's the second player or the third player with what is it? The big Frank Thomas and Ted Williams. He's the third player with 800 walks and 200 or more home runs in his first 1,000 games. So when you have numbers like that and you compare it to players like that, you're gonna be okay. Even if he goes to a couple months sleep, I think a slump. He's kind of coming into his own now. He's getting more comfortable here. The thing I have a problem with Soto is his hustling. Okay, I was at the game the other night. He doesn't hustle out of the box anytime. He takes an hour and it's funny because Nimmo hits in front of him sometimes. Nimmo walks, sprints down to first as fast as he can. Then Soto he'll walk down to first. Now that okay. But the other night with that double where he should have been on third. And then Alonso got thrown out at second. Now, if he doesn't score before Alonso gets tagged, that run doesn't count. And then it's all we're talking about. Because they still would be down. That was the tying run. That's going to happen. He's going to get bit in the ass with this one day. And he's got to hustle. It's not that hard. Just run out of the box.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do it more. So there's a couple times he's done that and lollygagged. And the thing is, I'm a little surprised at that with him. And I've been wondering because I haven't seen it from him before. And I didn't see it last year with the Yankees. I just wonder if some of the struggles are getting to him because he second guessed that one. You're right. that double, he absolutely should have been on third,
Yeah.
because even when the ball went past the right fielder, I was like, oh, that's a triple.
He had the bat in his hand when the ball got past the right fielder. And
Yeah, because he was
three
walking,
rows up off the dugout. He's right there.
He was walking half down the line. If he had just ran harder down to first, he makes it to third.
Yeah.
You don't want it to cost him. I do think he's been hitting better. I think he's getting more comfortable. I think he's been taking better at bats. I don't look at it as a bigger issue, but it's something that I think if it becomes, I have full confidence Carlos Mendoza will be talking to him and saying, you can't have that. Or Francisco Lindor will be having to talk.
Well, in today's game, and I'm not sure, I didn't see the press conference after the game, so I'm not sure if this is why he did it, but McNeil hit one up the third baseline. It ended up staying fair. I guess he thought it was going to go foul. He never left the box. Next inning, he was out of the game. Now, I don't know if he pulled him because of that or if it was just a defensive thing, but I applaud him if he pulled him because of that, because you can't, listen, even if I get that you're going to do it sometimes, it just looks bad. We're not going to ever understand an excuse. The fans are never going to understand why you can't book it down to first base. You can't explain that to anybody.
Nah, the fans are not trying to hear it. They pay their hard-earned money to go to these games, especially. And not that I'm never the person to hate on what these athletes are making.
A little bit.
Yeah, we all do. But, fans want to see effort, especially here in New York, especially Mets fans. They want to see it's effort. Fans are what's helping to pay your salary. These are the best players in the world at what they do. They deserve to be compensated highly because they can only do it for a short period of time. I'm always supportive of that, but it's transactional, right? The fans come and they pay their money and they're paying for these overpriced beers, and hot dogs, and all the good stuff. You know what I mean? So they want to see the effort. It's not. I don't think we're saying this from a place of like, Soto's overpaid and he's
I'm not
a multi-millionaire. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying too, and I think you don't want bad habits to come back, like you said, and bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
And it cost you in a game where, I don't know if you need an independent race or you need it in the playoffs. You don't want to see those bad habits. Everybody has to be locked in. So, if Mendoza did that earlier today, I hope that he would keep the same energy even with Soto. I understand everybody doesn't get treated the same way at a job. I get all that.
But that's any job. That's any job. But, you want to see that consistency and accountability somewhat through it, or at least he's got to have a talking to. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. I'm not worried about it because I think Soto's heating up. He's starting to walk more. He already walks a lot. Oh, he walks a ton. He's on base all over the place.
He is great eye for pitches still to me. I didn't even think when he was struggling, there were a lot of times he's hitting the ball hard, but it just wasn't going where he wanted to go. So I'm honestly, I've not been worried about Soto. Soto's hitting 252 right now.
I'm not worried about
I am not worried about why I kept saying, I've been saying it all season, he's the least of my worries with the Mets.
It's kind of, and it is kind of, I know I'm nitpicking with it. I know I am. So don't be writing me emails and stuff and things like, but I also kind of hope he gets burned on it. Get him back. Because if he gets embarrassed, it might fix it. That might be what it takes to fix it. Him on the cover of the paper being embarrassed because last night they didn't hustle one out and he got thrown out at second. It was a big spot in the game.
Yeah, sometimes you hate that it comes to that, but sometimes it has to come for that. And if that happens, he's, listen, the people who cover him, my colleague Mike Puma, Joel Sherman, John Heyman, they're going to be all over him. As they should be. They should be.
That's New York. Now, some more nitpicking because it's all we could do, right? The Mets are 21 games over 500. We're going to nitpick a little bit.
Nitpick time.
Alonso's got a little Mackie Sasser in him, right? He can't throw to the plate. He can't throw to the plate. He can't throw to the plate. Something up there is with the throwing to the plate. And then today he gets Senga injured. I know it doesn't matter if he's a defensive liability because the way he's hitting, he's having an MVP type season, and I'm all for it. But the defense is kind of taking a step back. He's been improving every year, and he got to a point where he was a pretty good first baseman. But this whole can't throw to home plate and the thing today, and I feel like the thing today is going to get in his head even more.
I wonder about that. The thing with him is it's not movement for balls. It's not stretching for throws because he actually does a really good job with that. Today, I think it was today, he had a really good stretch for a throw.
Yeah, he picks him out of the dirt well.
Pick him out of the dirt. Yeah, he's fine with that. It's the throws. There's the throw he airmailed. When was that? Last week Forget it. Was that in the
Yeah,
Dodgers?
yeah, when he
It was in the
airmailed
Dodgers.
it, yeah. And then 2 times the couple games later, he couldn't throw. Double clutched, he couldn't throw it to the
Double
plate.
clutched, yeah, I forgot. Right, he had that, and then obviously today the underhand throw a little bit too high to Senga. And listen, that is on him because he did. That's what made Senga have to go up for it, come down awkwardly on the bag. So I do put that on Alonso because you can't put your pitcher in that position who made the play, got his ass off the mound, and ran to the bag as he should to cover, and you put him in a position where he had to go out of position. So I know Alonso feels bad about it. I'm sure he does.
Oh, yeah, he does. You can see that he felt bad about it.
Yeah, you do wonder if this is starting to get in his head with the throws. He's overthinking the throws. Now, he seems to be not super instinctive. He's thinking about it, so that's what's causing him to throw a little higher. You know, they say if you want to be reactive, play comes and you're
don't think it. He's thinking about it too much. He's thinking about it. Just don't think about it. Just make the throw. Like the pitchers, don't aim. Just throw it. Pitch, you know?
And I think what's frustrating is we've seen, watching him, how much more relaxed he looks at the plate this year than he has in 2 years. So, you're like, man, you've been coming around at the plate. We hope that it doesn't hurt for you on defense. I think Alonso's going to figure it out. The reason I say that more for him, I look at him as one of the leaders. I think he loves playing here. He knows. He knows what he needs to do. He's not one of the guys.
You know what you need to do, Alonso, right? And let's straighten it out. Come on.
He knows.
Now, with the lineup with these 3 hitting, and now we're starting to see what this Mets lineup is, right? Now that Soto's hitting, Lindor, you don't even have to worry. I love Lindor because I think he's the best player on the team. I think you don't have to worry about him. He always comes through in the clutch. And this year, you got Alonso doing the same thing. We are seeing now how dangerous this lineup really is with those 3 hitting. Now you got Nimmo coming around. Yep. Alonso's hitting for average, too. He's not just power. He's 266 or something, I think, coming into today. Average. The whole thing's kind of coming together. How dangerous can this lineup really be?
Really dangerous. I mean, I think the keys are those guys. Soto, I'm telling you, Soto's about to go through Soto's going to have himself a hot month, whether it's this month or next. It's coming. I'm not worried with Soto. Lindor's Lindor. Alonso finding himself again and hitting.
Oh, yeah. Alonso's been the best hitter in baseball almost. Or one of them.
I think one of them. He's not, he's not Judge.
No, he's not Judge. I know.
Or Tani, but I think if he hits 270, 275 this year and is on the pace he is with home runs, this was the kind of hitter you thought Alonso could be when he came up through the Met system. And he's going to break, the Al Strawberry's home record for home runs. Oh,
yeah, like next week or something. I think he's only a couple away, right?
He's only what? I think 9 away, something like that. So he's going to do that. And the guy's hitting confidently. He's having good at bats too. I think that's the thing for me with him. He just looks like he's not pressing. He doesn't look like he's overthinking it at the plate. He looks relaxed. Quality at bats. He can hit the home run, but he's not trying to do it every time. And so seeing him for average is huge. But for me, the big keys for me, Nimmo. Nimmo's one. Nimmo's been on the heater. He's got 3 home runs.
2 last night, right? 1 today.
2 last night, 1 today. So 3 in the last 2 games. He's been really good. They need him cooking at the top of the lineup. If he's cooking in the lineup, if he's cooking, that's really going to help now because now you feel like there's another guy you could trust. He gives you a little bit of speed on the base paths, not a whole ton, but a little bit, and you feel good about that.
Where do you want to see him hitting the lineup? Because he's kind of got he's not got no place in the lineup. He's all over it.
He's been fine lately, hitting 5th.
I like him in the 2-hole, too.
I like him better in the 2-hole. That's me personally. I like it. If it was me, it'd be Lindor, him, Soto, Alonso, Vientos.
I like the move of Soto to the 3rd hole. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And kudos to Soto for moving there. And he had no problem when Mendoza brought it up.
They're not putting him 8th or 9th. They say, do you want to go from the 2 to the 3?
Right. And I think that would be ideal. That's why I also bring up Vientos as the other key to me. Vientos still hasn't fouled his stride. I actually felt like
I think he's having a sophomore slump.
And I thought I said this on my show. I thought the injury maybe he's coming for him at a good time where he could sort of reset, get himself healthy, maybe come back with some rehab, starts in Syracuse and find his swing back because I think he's been pressing. This lineup, I still think has another level to go, and it starts with 3 guys. Like I said, Nimmo's one who I wasn't really too worried about. He seems to be coming around now. Vientos and then Alvarez. Alvarez, who's been struggling.
Terrible.
Yeah, he's not been good. The problem is he's so good defensively in terms of catching the game. Not said throwing out runners, but in catching the game.
Yeah.
He's so good in that aspect where it's like, man, if you could just be, we're not asking for too much. I know
but we put him down for 25, 30 home runs. And like now I almost want to see Terrence in there because he's got the same numbers as Terrence at this point. And I hate to say it, but he's been bad all year. And I know he had the injury.
Why?
But they also said that injury the surgery that he had is something that could take some power away. I read somewhere. I don't know the first thing about it, but
and it might take him a year to get back to that. The problem is, with him, and I was talking to Mike Puma about this a couple weeks ago. The problem is, it's like, I think the tough thing for Mendoza is he hasn't been good. I'm with you, Bob.
Yeah.
But you don't want to kill his confidence.
I know.
Because I was saying, is it worth sending him down? Torrens,
he's at that level now where he could be sent down without an argument.
He is. And it's like, maybe it doesn't hurt him. Maybe it does hurt his confidence. I think the reason he won't get sent down is the pitching staff loves him. They love him. They absolutely love working with him. There's value from there. But it's like, you were supposed to be a better hitter than what we're seeing right now. And I'm trying to give him some grace because of what you said. I'm giving him grace because of the surgery at the top of the year. It came at the end of spring training. I'm trying to give him grace, but I thought this was a big year for Alvarez. Now, there's still time left. It's not over. We know this from last year. Yeah, but he's got to start. He's got to start hitting.
Yeah, and I wouldn't send him down because I think that's what screws play. I think they screwed Beatty up by sending him down after he came up. They brought him up. They out of nowhere they threw him in third base in a big series against the Braves, and he wasn't very good. And then they sent him down, and I think that screwed him up for almost 2 years. He seems to be, he's coming into his own a little bit now, which I can't believe he might take the job from Vientos, which is something I never thought I'd say because I have not been a big Beatty guy. I think he's been kind of a 4A player, and everybody says that I know. But and McNeil now you got McNeil hitting. Finally, after 2 years of just garbage from McNeil, he's finally now starting to hit. He hit a home run. What was it, last night or today? And he's been last night, and he's been playing. He's been hitting the ball kind of like the last 2 or 3 weeks, kind of like he did when he won the batting title.
Yeah, and it's I last year I just felt like he had a bad year to drop off. I was wondering if he'd come back this year, and it wasn't off to a good start. It looks like now he's starting to come around. We'll see. But here's the thing: the Mets have a good problem with their infield. They got some good players. They got some young players ready for opportunities. Yeah, Vientos could lose his third base job because Beatty's just a much better defensive player. Now, I've always said this for Vientos, and I still think it can be true. Vientos may or may not like this, and I don't know this with any means. He might just be best suited as a DH. That might be his future role. He might be this team's everyday DH, and I think you can do worse, but the Mets have to put the best defensive lineup. If Beatty hits and is playing the defense the way
he's got to be in the lineup.
He's got to be in the lineup. The problem also, too, is like we're also talking about Mauricio, who's, man, his bat speed.
We got too many good players. This is a great...
It's a good problem to have, man.
Good problems.
Yeah, Mauricio was good, but what I like with the Mets, this is another thing you see the Mets valuing in the way they build their team. And it's more baseball around today. Versatility. They got guys who can play multiple positions. Mauricio can play third. He can play second. He can play short. Luis Angel Acuna can play second and short.
Yeah.
Beatty
can even play second.
Yeah, I know. Beatty can play second.
Yeah, we got a ton of infielders.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
You might trade one or two of them, right? You might use it as, okay, we got a log jam here in the middle of the infield to the left side of the infield. We could use that to pick up somebody if we need something on the trade deadline.
Yeah, you might think about bolstering your bullpen, which has been really good. Maybe to get another arm. They could do that. They have a sort of an embarrassment of riches in the infield. Nobody there has emerged as a great player, but there's a lot of good players there. Vientos showed you something last year. I think Vientos has a good bat. He's been a little undisciplined this year, and I wonder how much that is him pressing.
Another sophomore slump, possibly. It could just be that.
And sometimes the league is adjusting to you, and you have to adjust back to the league. And we'll see. We'll
see, exactly. Now, the Mets don't lose at home, right? They're 27-7. It's a ridiculous record because they're only a game over 500 on the road. So if they were even half decent on the road, they would have an even bigger lead, and they're running away with the division and everything like that. But you've been to Citi Field, I'm guessing, a bunch of times this year, a couple times, right? I've been there. For most of these games. You haven't?
I have yet to go to a game this year.
Wait till you get out there. It's a playoff atmosphere every night.
I probably will the next homestand. I was trying to get out this homestand. I won't get there this weekend. I probably will the next homestand. I got to take my daughter to a game. So the next homestand, I'm probably getting out there.
Yeah, get out there. You're missing it. I mean, it's crazy. It's basically because it's a different feel than the Mets and the Yankees. We have two different feels in this town. The Yankees are more corporate, and like I'm not even saying that as a downer, but it's more business-like, right? It's a party out at Citi Field this year. The fans are on; they're into every game. I was sitting down low the other night, like 4 rows off the dugout, and the guy behind me, when they were losing, it was when they came back and they ended up winning with the Soto didn't hustle with the double in the 8th inning. They had the rally.
5-4 win. Yep.
The guy behind me, I heard him talk to the guy next to him, and he goes, don't count this team out. They always come back. And I was just thinking, you know what? And it felt like a loss. It just did. It felt like a Tuesday night. You know, they're going to lose one, which is okay. You're fine with that. But it just felt like a loss. And then they have that 8th inning where they 2 outs. They get a walk to Marte, bang, bang, double, and the game is tied. Mm-hmm. And then you bring in, you know, the relievers hold them in the 9th and the 10th, and they win the game in the bottom of the 10th. And the atmosphere out there has just been incredible. They've been selling the games out, full houses every night. What do you think about that? You think it's just a product of a winning team?
I think it's a product of a winning team. I think it's a product of a fan base that's starting to believe in this team, the energy they're giving back. I know you got to believe is always like cliche with the Mets, but there are years when it feels special around the team and the energy around it. You know, I know this is not Citi Field, it was Shea, but like 2006 was one of those years. I remember going to a bunch of games that year and in the playoffs, and it just was a different energy.
Place
you know, the
shaking.
playoffs in 2015, because even I'll think about, 2022 was in the playoffs, and I went to a bunch of games that year. It didn't feel like what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know the feeling you're talking about. Somebody grew up a Mets fan. I know that feeling around the team when the team believes, the fan base believes. I think it's the fan base believing in this organization. I know Mets fans are always waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I think with the ownership of Steve Cohen, I think with the leadership of David Stearns or Carlos Mendoza, this is the best I felt about the Mets in the way they're run, at least in my lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And at the ballpark, you expect them to come back. You never want to leave. The last game they lost was that game against at home was that game against the White Sox. So they switched it from night to day. And they had it because there was rain coming or something. That was the last game they lost. But besides that, I mean, 27-7. You know, that's crazy. The Giants don't score 27 points. They don't, you know. It's like a football score, but it's like a Giant football score, but they're on the wrong end. But it's just it's been crazy. And this team, you're right. This team is great. And that leads me to my next question. That I think this might be the best Mets team I've ever seen. Now I've been watching since I'm born in 81. Figure 88, 90 would be where I start. I think this might be the best Mets team I ever seen. What do you think about that?
The team that comes to mind is that 06 team. It's crazy because that team didn't win. I think that's the best Mets team I ever saw.
And it's a little early, too, to be making that statement, but I'm going to make it anyway.
I got to see a little more, but I understand why you feel that way. I think I'm thinking about the lineups. I still think the 06 lineup's a little bit better.
That was the Olerud, Ventura, right? That those guys.
No, sorry. 06. Who's on 06?
06 was David Wright.
Reyes. Who's playing first base on that team?
Oh, what's his name? Duda?
Or is that too? That's before. Is that Duda's a little after that.
It might have been Duda. Might have been after. It would have to be Duda though. Who else would it be?
No, you had Cliff Floyd is on that team.
Oh, Cliff Floyd. You're right. Yeah, and Cliff Floyd was a big hit. You're right. Shame on us for forgetting.
Paul Duca was catching. Beltran, obviously.
Yep.
Xavier Nady.
Okay.
I was going through some of these other guys. That was a really good team. I think this team is the top heaviness of the lineup was better. That team that went.
What was their record? What was the record in 06?
97-65.
Okay. I think this team could win 100. We'll win 100 games.
They won the division by 12 games. Okay. I think they should
have made it. They should have went further than they did.
I know.
97 wins, 12 games up, wins the division.
I think about this team, because I'm thinking about that team and I was thinking about the pitching. This team's probably more talented in the rotation and the bullpen. That's where I think the edge is.
But not on paper. On paper, that rotation was probably better. Who was that rotation? You got the team in front of you? You got the roster?
I pulled it up. Hold on. Let me bring it.
Who was the pitching staff on that team?
Starters. You looking for starters, right?
Yeah.
Glavine, John Maine, Pedro, Mike Pelfrey, and Oliver Perez. Also with
you know what? That's kind of like this pitching staff.
Victor Zambrano, also.
Okay.
Sort of your long reliever mix there. Aaron Heilman in the bullpen. Good bullpen on that team.
Aaron Heilman was good. Underrated Aaron Heilman.
Yep, Garamoto, Darren Oliver's your long man.
Glavine and Maine and Pray for Rain, right? Remember that?
Yes. Billy Wagner. Bueno Sanchez. That bullpen was good, man. That was a good bullpen.
You know what? That's a comparable team. I think that you came up with a good one. 06 is a comparable team. And we'll see if this team can win more games.
I think so. I think this team is better than the 2015 team. Yep. I know you might like the potential of some of those pitchers that were on that 2015, but I think this team's lineup is better than that team for sure.
Oh, there's a million Mets teams. I could go through a million Mets teams that have potential better than this team, but they always fell flat on their face.
It's better than any of the late 90s teams, the 2000 World Series team. I think it's more talented than that team.
Yeah, that team was a surprise.
It was. I was like just happy to be there.
We beat the Dodgers. Look, we beat the Dodgers in the season series. Last year I was okay. I was, as much as I say, I was okay with losing to the Dodgers because they were just a better team. I never expected us to win. I was glad we won that. We had to win that game at home, take it to the game 6, and we did. But I was okay. This year I expect them to win, and I expect at least a World Series appearance.
I think the biggest thing you got from the Dodgers games, the 7 games still in play, is that the Mets can compete. The Mets could have won 5 out of the 7. It was probably a little disappointing they didn't take 3 out of 4.
They should have swept that series. If you want to be real bad, they should have swept that series.
They could have. At least they should have took 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Now they didn't. So you can't say anything. But
they won 4 out of 7. I think what I took out of that was that the Mets can compete with them.
Absolutely.
And they're not scared. The Mets are not scared. And look, the Mets are on pace right now. They're ahead of the Dodgers. Still a lot of baseball to be played. Baseball is such a long season, but you don't know. They finished with the best record. They have home field. You don't know.
You don't know. They can compete. It's not the given that the Dodgers are going to beat them. Like it almost like it was last year. Kind of felt that way.
And I think the Mets showed they could pitch to that lineup. That's the biggest things I take from that. Is like their lineup is good. We know how good the Dodgers are talented. Don't get me wrong. Dodgers are the best. I will still say the best team in baseball. They're the champs until somebody beats them.
Best players too.
But the Mets competed with them last year, and I think this Mets team is way better than last year's team.
And I love that the Braves are just bottom dropping out and falling on their face. What about that? Did you see that game they lost up 6 runs with 1 out and nobody on? The odds of that are infinitesimal.
I don't know why I keep doing this, but when I look at the standings, I'm like, man.
Yeah, it brings a little smile to your face. Of course it does.
The Braves are 15 back, but it feels like they're gonna make some crazy run at some point. But
I stopped saying that. 14, I stopped saying that, but
but they had their run in May. They had their little run in May where they were coming up, and I think they got it to 7 or 6 games, and then it's like they went right back down. So listen, the Mets have a 5.5 game lead over the Phillies. They're up on the Nationals by 14.5. They're up on the Braves by 15.
You got to feel good about it.
The way I look at this stuff all the time. Get 5 more games above 500. Now they're 21. You want to get to 25. Then you want to get to 30. And just win series, and take care of business. That should be the focus for the Mets. Be healthy. See what moves you can make at the deadline.
They're going to be all right, Dexter. They're going to be all right. We're going to be talking going into the playoffs. It's going to be great. His name is Dexter Henry. The show. Tell everybody about the show. Where's the show? Because it's an excellent show. Straight out of Flushing, New York Post. Tell us where we can find it.
Straight out of Flushing, New York Post, Mets original show hosted by myself. We got a bunch of good guests coming every week. Bob is going to be on the show eventually. Right. I told Bob about that to talk about some Mets. We have content creators. We have, insiders, players, different people coming on. Good episode this week. We're going to dive into a little bit of what me and Bob talked about, the Mets pitching. We're going to dive into the Mets pitching this week. You can catch it on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. Catch it there every Sunday or Monday we drop it. So,
and when the Knicks do hire a coach, you can find them on New York Game.
There you go. That's it. That's it, my friend. I appreciate it.
My man, Dexter Henry. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes, Dexter.
Anytime, brother. Thank you, Dexter Henry,
for giving us a couple minutes. Always great on the show. I go on his show, and as you heard, I'm going to be going on his show, so keep an eye out for that. But again, thank you. Always great on this show. Gave you some good stuff on the Mets there. Check out the show. It's called Straight Out of Flushing. And we're going to give you the website you can find it on. It's from the New York Post. He also is on WFAN doing updates, and he's all over the place. But Dexter, my man, thank you so much for coming on the show. That's going to do it for us here. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. Remember, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube, and always at our website on www.lockedupsports.net. Also, don't forget to hit the QR code, take a picture of it with your phone. That will bring you to our follow page. Give us a follow, and if you can, wherever you listen or watch, give us a review because it all helps. So thanks for tuning in. Mets with a win today, 4-3. They survive a late, push by the Nationals. Diaz leaves the tying run on third, the go-ahead run on second. Of course, the big story, though, coming out of today's game is Kodai Senga is out with a hamstring injury on an errant throw from Pete Alonso when he was trying to cover first base. Listen, it can't all go right? So, we take the hits when they come. The Mets have plowed right through every type of, problem they've had this year. They've done fantastic. The pitching staff is great, but this is our top pitcher. He is the pitcher with the top ERA in baseball. So it is a big story if he misses any bit of time. And it looks like, it's more than likely he's going to miss a couple weeks. Hopefully just a couple weeks. And the Mets have a big enough lead and a big enough cushion with this 21 game over 500 that they just continue rolling. They are now 27-7 at home, which is another unbelievable number. So again, that's going to do it for us. Thanks again to Dexter Henry. We'll see you later, everybody. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, I'm Bob Walters. See ya.